Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Campus Consortium's EdTalks webinar series. Our presenters for today's session are Charles Elliott, Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer from LeMoyne-Owen College, Mariano Brown, Chief Executive Officer from Untitled Chapter Global School of Business, Elliott Ravi, Principal Solution Engineer of MuleSoft, James Schmidt, President of Quick Launch, and Dr. Carl Horvath, President at Campus Consortium. We will take questions at the end of today's presentation. Please enter your questions into the chat box or question pane in your Zoom control panel. Without further ado, please allow me to present Charles Elliott, Mariano Brown, Elliott Ravi, James Schmidt, and Dr. Carl Horvath. Over to you, Carl.
Thank you, Lily, and thank you to everyone that's attending today. It's at the end of the fall semester for many institutions, and many institutions are ready to go on an extended break. So I really appreciate the time that everyone has taken to join us today to learn a little bit more about integration. We have a great turnout today. Also, in the audience, we have mostly higher education institutions. Almost 140 institutions have signed up for this presentation, including, looks like we have Marywood University, we have Bryn Athyn College, we have TargetX, which is a EdTech vendor also, and we have LaSalle University, welcome. And my buddy Ray from Temple University in Philadelphia is attending, so welcome. Also, great cross-section of 2-year, 4-year institutions, public and private. So it looks like integration is on everybody's mind these days, and we're going to get into it. So we have a good panel today, and we have a lot to talk about. So we want to get into this discussion quickly so we give everybody time to comment. We also want to have the audience, really interact with us. So we have a few poll questions for you, and please use the Q&A. And we'll keep this to an hour. So I'm sure you have other work to get done, but we want to make sure this is a valuable hour for you. So again, thanks for attending. Let me just tell you a little bit about Campus Consortium, founded in 2003 by 14 schools at an EDUCAUSE conference in Anaheim, California. Since then, a lot has happened from Y2K to the Great Recession to the Great Pandemic, and Campus Consortium's been around to support institutions. We are really trying to change what we're about in terms of making sure we provide relevant services and support to institutions, especially coming up in 2022, which is just a few weeks away. And I am really open to any comments, suggestions, input from the education community and how we can support you and your institutions. Also just released, we're about to release a new report January 1st that we've been working on about, speaking of integrations, what this presentation is about. This is a report on apps, mobile apps and AI chatbots, and how they're starting to converge and become one application that will really be more powerful than the two of them individually. And so this is a little bit of a research report. Also, there's vendor profiles in here that may be helpful to you. Also on our website at Campus Consortium, we have vendors and partner discounts of many different kinds. We've been really growing our vendor selection in the community of EdTech vendors. We also have some in-kind technology grants to help you be able to afford technology, especially cloud technology. Special thanks to our sponsors today. Our sponsor MuleSoft is here. Appreciate representation, and we'll hear more about MuleSoft a little bit later and the integrations services they can provide. We also have Quick Launch Identity and Integration, who's joined us also here today. We'll talk about some of their projects and how it relates to being able to pull your systems that are all around campus into one centralized system and other features that integration can provide. I'd like to start out with our first poll question of the day, and that is just a 30 seconds poll question, and please answer the question. The results will be up on the screen. We will quickly talk about that, but we'd like to get feedback from the audience as much as possible. And so I guess our first question is, are your academic and administrative systems easy to access and connect seamlessly with other campus systems? So core systems that many institutions use are learning management systems, that's the LMS, and student information systems, which is the SIS, and how many other systems on campus connect to those, so you can just go to one place or one login to get the information you need. So, briefly, I just wanted to cover a little bit about system integration, just for those who are attending that may not be IT. And usually we get a great cross-section on these webinars. We get IT, finance, academics, student services, and many other departments across campus that want to know more. And the content is really geared in these presentations for everyone. And the goal is really, how do you best support your students? System integration, as I mentioned earlier, is really merging, connecting all these systems that are around campus. And many campuses that I've worked at, and I'm sure the ones that you are at, have many different systems with different data that needs to be integrated into one central system. And so those integrations can seem scary and real time hogs as far as the amount of work that's got to get done. But there is achievable and affordable solutions for that, and we'll talk about that today. The results from this first poll about academic systems, easy to access, about 26% of our respondents say yes, about 22% say no, but most folks looks like they are working on it at around 52%. So I really appreciate you taking the time to respond to that. Here's an example, a graphic example of integrating systems. You can see in the middle is the integration, but you can really bring in products from different vendors, applications from different vendors, cloud systems and services, data from different sources, and you can really combine them all into one system or combine the data together so you get a comprehensive report. Examples of system integration could be your LMS, as we said, your SIS, single sign-on and web portals are integration projects too. If you have your community logging into multiple different systems, you can get one system where they authenticate once and it gives them access to multiple systems with one authentication. There's finance and reporting systems, cloud applications, and the list goes on. So here's an example about the Bursar office. Let's say there's an advisor in a financial aid that wants to, is able to see a $300 bill for the first semester of a student's senior year. So equipped with that information, this advisor can reach out to the student and take care of that billing issue and ensure that the student doesn't miss graduation or maybe drop out. So this really can help with retention and persistence of your students. And, there almost any question that you can ask about retaining students or working with students or providing services can relate to an integration project that can make it better. You can save some money, you can create efficiency, and as budgets have been reduced, especially since the pandemic, and as staffing has been reduced, integrations really help automate and bring information together that you used to maybe manually have to gather together or manually enter into a system. So facts about integrations are, yes, it does require time and resources, and you have to worry about IT security, but the benefits are efficiency and the ease of access, and you really can simplify your business processes. The challenges are, of course, limited funding, limited staffing, expertise, and we'll talk about all those issues today. And we'd love to hear from the audience too, as well. So next poll question, I'd like to ask the audience to rate the system integration on your campus. So how well do your systems connect and provide ease of access to end users? So you can say most systems work well, or some systems work well, or almost no systems work. And so that would give us an idea of your institution and where you are in the integration journey. So if you just take the next 30 seconds to answer that, be greatly appreciated. And while you do that, I would like to introduce our first speaker for today. And his name is Charles G. Elliott. He's the Vice President for Information Technology and Chief Information Officer for LeMoyne-Owen College. Mr. Elliott developed technical skills to accomplish his user and network objectives, including implementing, expanding, and improving integrity and usability of complex server-based systems and internal software technical support. And he currently serves as the Vice President of IT and Administrative Services at LeMoyne-Owen College, where he establishes and directs the strategic and tactical goals, policies, and procedures for the Information Technology Department and the Cybersecurity Center, while managing the day-to-day operations of the organization, including food service, campus security, and facilities maintenance. Charles, I got to say, that is a boatload of responsibility there. You're doing a lot of activity and work there. And I know that IT certainly must be integrated and impacting all those other areas you're responsible for. And before I hand it over to you, Charles, let me just report on the latest results of the poll. Rate system integration on your campus, how well do systems connect and ease of access to end users? It looks like most people say some systems work together. So it looks like there are integration projects on your campuses that you've all been working. Is it 100%? Not yet. And again, you know, integration on any campus is ongoing. It's never done. It's a continuing project. So that really does make sense. We have a percentage, 23% say most of their systems work well together. And then we do have a few that say almost no systems work well together. And, you know, there's always something for everybody as far as support and help. So we'll try to address some of those issues today with you. And I really appreciate everyone taking the time to answer that poll question. And now, Charles, back to you. I'm going to hand it over to you.
Sure. Thanks, Carl. Thanks for the opportunity to be a part of this illustrious panel. And as I told James, there's going to be a lot of discussion when I talk about what they've done for us as well when you talk about system integration and partners. But I'm here representing the LeMoyne-Owen College, and on behalf of our 13th president, Vernell Bennett-Fairs, Dr. Vernell Bennett-Fairs, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about what we have done and what we're doing. So next slide. When we start talking about system integration, as you talked about disparate systems, we're a traditional, small, historically Black college university. So a lot of the things that we have were somewhat behind in its infrastructure. And the things that we did have that may have been up to date were disparate, right? We had systems that did this, systems that did that. And we needed to be able to now integrate those systems so that we can now move to an automated format for our students. And particularly, I got here right before COVID hit. And so you got to imagine the manual process now cannot work because we have no students here. We're doing Teams, we're remote. And so now we have to have a way for us to process information. And we integrated, and there's, you know, three reasons, I would say the main reasons. And if you notice, the bolded is a student. Students are the main reason we have to do this, to make sure that their experience at the institution is paramount and that they represent us well, but also give them an experience where they talk about to other students to come to be a part of it. So the first reason was student-facing automation. We implemented online payment. We were check and cash and maybe call in, which we were concerned about PCI DSS rules. Many of you know when you do using credit cards. And so we had to find a way so that our students who are not here, we're not on campus, we're off campus for about a year. And so so we needed to have a way for them to pay, also to integrate that payment into the student information system. So we worked with ACI to do that so that our students now can pay without being here. We also are implementing a chatbot. Again, thanks to one of our campus consortium partners and the help from you guys, working with Unified, we'll be releasing that in January. So when our students come on our website or anyone comes to our website, they'll be met with the magician. And that magician will talk to them from an artificial intelligence perspective and machine learning to be able to answer some questions without them having to call anyone or taking them, trying to navigate the website. The second reason, student ease of use. You mentioned single sign-on. Now we have tiles where they can sign on, they can go to Outlook, they can go to all the Microsoft applications that we have, including Teams. They can now go to their self-service where they can now go and check their balances, sign up for classes, register for classes, and look at what their grades are. And so that single sign-on was important too, through that. And then student supporting systems, those who support them, we needed to make sure we integrate so that they can now have that same kind of experience to help the student. And that student can now have, again, a good experience with our staff and faculty. Next slide. You can hit it a couple of times, it'll show up. Thank you, thank you. In order to do system integration, one of the things that was important to me is to be able to not just integrate. I know we talk about disparate systems in IT, and we've been doing this for years and inside of multiple, from government to corporations, and all of us talk about system integration in a way to make sure those disparate systems go away. However, we have to do it in a systematic way, right? We just can't just integrate. And I'm gonna talk about a few things to consider when doing that at the end. But we had to have online payment. We had to have single sign-on authentication. We're now upgrading to 2016, 2019. Some of our servers were 2003, 2008, were out of life or end of life. And then we had to do some process mapping to make sure that we had the right things in place in order to do that. And I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on that, but we had to start moving down this roadmap to student ticketing systems. We had to do our YOTA chatbot, which will be released in January. We had to do online payment plans because many of our students are 94% on financial aid, and they can't pay all of it up front. So they got to have a way, again, online to pay that and to make that happen. You mentioned security. We have to now had to implement encrypted backup because now a lot of our students are coming remote. And then we had to move to a cloud-based infrastructure, which we'll be doing from January to June. We'll be going to the cloud in the middle of the next semester, where our systems can now be protected from any of the on-prem things that happen when it comes to power and HVAC. And so we're going to move to a fully automated registration where students can not have to ever come in. They can do everything online. So we'll get there. Next slide. So this is an example of online payment. We, again, were a cash check or money order, or you had to bring in or send in or mail in or call in, which we only had one person taking the call. So it may be a time where you could not catch a person to pay your bill. That would cause registration slowdowns and so forth. So what we did was we partnered with ACI and we implemented a online payment that was integrated into our self-service. The top of that is our self-service. The bottom is the payment. So if you go into the finance piece, you have a button to show your balance, but you also can pay right there without having to worry about sending anything in or forgetting what the balance is. Everything's right there in your face. And so this is just an example of where we were once pre-COVID, only could come in to now where we can now pay online and do all the things we need to do in a systematic online way. Next slide. This is an example of single sign-on. As you see, we have Office 365. Students live by email, so do our faculty and staff, and also Power Campus, which is our student information system. And then, of course, Admit. Admit is another system that we're implementing. It's our CRM that, again, with a partnership with Campus Consortium, where we now have Power Campus does not have a built-in CRM like many of you may have Banner, many of you may have Colleague. We have Power Campus, so we had to find the proper CRM to do that, and working with Unified and creating our own customized CRM to meet our needs as a small institution to make sure we can now have a single sign-on perspective where they can come, a student can come in, or a staff person come in and get all that they need right here. We'll be adding more tiles, as these are called, based on the need of our campus. Again, based on the need of the student, who is paramount to our success. And so our students are exactly what we're focused on when we thought about doing a single sign-on, so they now can come to one place, get to Teams, get to email, and get to self-service. Next slide. This is an example of the chatbot. Again, our chatbot, with the help of Quick Launch helped us. James and his team helped us with the single sign-on. This is another partner through Campus Consortium. As you can see, we have the magician here, and that magician will be able to answer questions. You can ask questions. We're at time. I know we're short, but we got 3 other presenters. I can show you how we've already generated questions. So when a student starts typing, it can now, how do you get financial aid? How do I register for classes? And then it has some basic things about the institution, or if they had questions about campus life, athletics, and then even alumni to go to. And that chat bot will now give them the opportunity to go straight to that particular page and give them information they need, or it will answer the question. If you have a help desk issue, how do I get information technology support? You put that in there, and it will give you the email for help desk and also the phone number. So we're trying to use the system integration that's with our website, which is one of my main marketing tools, along with integrating that to our other systems like Power Campus, where they can get balanced information in our phase 2, where they can get information on when classes start. So now integrating these 2 systems to make sure that right at the front of their experience with the institution, they can get the information they need. Next slide. This is another one from Unify. This is the CRM. They admit I wanted to show that our system is prospects by recruiter, by primary major. This is a system that now our admissions and enrollment team can use to know exactly who to recruit and have information, because information is key. One of the reasons you do system integration is for data analytic purposes, right? So that we can now take data from over here and data over here, do some sort of process analysis to give us the data analytic structure we need to be able to make decisions for our students and for our staff and faculty. And so this CRM now is, again, a part of the single sign-on process. And also we need to develop this with the help of partners like Unified and Campus Consortium. And so as we think through this CRM now is tied into, as we finish up to go live on this in the first part of the spring, is tied to our student information system. We actually have chosen Canvas as our learning management system. It will be tied into our student information system as well. So this is another example of how a potentially disparate system doing one thing can now tie into our main ERP system, which is our brain, which is for us as an educational institution is the student information system. Next slide. Again, I wanted to share with you things to consider. As we are calling, we call summer transformation summer, as we start doing things differently with the team. And Carl mentioned that with me having these other responsibilities of facilities and food service, we started implementing a work order system that we're going to do through a geographical information system through ArcGIS for our facilities team starting in the spring, that we can now have integrated into our work order system that allows for us to now manage that properly. So we have multiple things we were doing, but we needed to make sure we consider some things when you do system integration, because many times we do system integration and we forget about the things we have, and then we cannibalize, and I'll talk about that, the things that we have and not take full optimization of those. And we must make sure we do that. So here are 3 things to consider when doing system integration as we have as a small institution, but also an institution that's on the cutting edge of making changes and moving forward in the 21st century. First thing to consider is to make your ERP system, student system upgrade and releases immediately, right? We must do that immediately, because one of the things that we face many times have the reputation of educational institutions that we don't move things quickly. And so when we think about that, and we think about the many things that are happening around an educational institution, we must be able to move with the speed of business. And that's the theme around our IT group. We move at the speed of business so that we make upgrades when they come about. We make the changes needed. We make the amendments necessary immediately so we can get the benefit of those. Because what we found out, even like Power Campus, it's a small system compared to the others. However, we needed to optimize that. We needed to make sure we were using all of the system as needed. So in doing that, we had to now ensure that the focus was on the system. While we identified our integration needs, we need to make sure Power Campus was the focus. Everything that we decided to have or to integrate had to be focused or to integrate into Power Campus. There were professors and other administrators saying, hey, this is a great system. I went to the conference. I heard about it. Can we implement it? Does it integrate into the student information system? If it's going to be another disparate system, no. By the way, Power Campus or this other system that we already are integrating, does this work? So we made sure that we pushed back where we could to ensure that all integration was focused on our student information system. When we made a decision on the CRM, one of the main questions to the different vendors who we considered is that you have to be able to now integrate seamlessly into our Power Campus system. And lastly, we must do this. We must avoid cannibalizing the system we have. There were many things that Power Campus did not do. So when we consider system integration, we can to make sure, though, that we did not go get a system that cannibalized the pieces of the Power Campus that were already in place. There were things that Power Campus could do. We didn't need to get a system to do those if Power Campus already did that. So we need to make sure that we did not cannibalize what we have, overspend as a small institution, and make sure that we did the best practice for the institution and to make sure it worked best for our students. So as we think about system integration, one of these things are things to consider, but you must make those decisions quickly because with the help of Campus Consortium and some of the partners that they have, we were able to do that in a very cost-effective manner. And so as we move forward in 2022, these things will start coming about. We're moving to cloud infrastructure. Our chatbot will be live. Our CRM will be live come by February. And then we'll be able to help not only our students, but our staff and faculty alike. So thanks, Carl and the Campus Consortium, for the opportunity to show what you guys have helped us with at LeMoyne-Owen College, because we continue to make the magic happen, and we're going to do that through continuous system integration. So thank you.
Great, Charles. Thank you for that. I wanted to comment on a couple of things you have to say. First, this poll question. This is our last one for today. Do you think system integration is essential to your institution's future? Yes, no, optional. We're planning an integration project now. So you give us a sense of where your thinking is on your campus, that would be great. Yeah, Charles, so, Power Campus, I can tell you from having been CIO at a university where I had a similar student information system, it's certainly a challenge. It's very rock solid system, but the features and flexibility are not able to adapt to growth sometimes, and adding on new services for students. So that's where integrations really come in, I guess. And I love your view of that, where you're keeping the system true to what it does, and you're kind of building around that and then integrating the information in there. And then just a comment about partners, and that's one of the things in the past year I've been really working on is we are adding on more and more technology partners all the time at Campus Consortium, because we want to choose the right partner for the institution. So we'd be very objective. If this partner's not going to do it, then we'll find another one for you that will. Here is the results of that poll question. Do you think system integration is essential to your institution's future? Overwhelming 90% yes. And nobody said no. So, but some folks might be in a place where they do think it's optional, and others are working on it. So
Carl, can I say one last thing about being cost effective?
Sure.
One of the things that, as we talked about Power Campus, the next system up or we consider was like a couple of $1 million more, and it takes 22 to 26 months to implement, right? And we're going through reaffirmation. So we'd be right smack and dab in the middle of that right now, but Power Campus does its job, but through system integration, a lot of those things that the other systems were offering, we're now doing through the system integration piece. So it's going to be cost effective as well.
Yeah. So cost effective, and in time too. You don't have to spend that 26 months implementing a new system. So that is good. And if it gives you what you need, then that's great. And that's what we want to help with. If a new system is what you're looking for, that's great. If it's not, then, there's other solutions out there. So thank you for reporting on that and all the good work you're doing at your institution.
Thank you.
I'd like to introduce our next presenter, and that is Marianne O'Brown, Chief Executive Officer for the Arthur Locke Jack Global School of Business. And Marianne O'Brown is currently the CEO at Arthur Locke Jack Global School of Business and former member of the Cabinet of Trinidad and Tobago, in which he held 2 portfolios simultaneously. the Minister of Trade and Industry and Minister in the Ministry of Finance. As Minister, he was chairman of the organizing committee for the 5th Summit of the Americas and the Commonwealth Heads Government Conferences held in 2009. Prior to his appointment as a minister, he spent most of his time in financial services sector in the region. And welcome, Mariano. And, can you tell us a little bit more about your institution and how you are looking at integration projects?
Mariano, you're on mute.
Still seems like he may be on mute. Maybe he's got a mic.
Yes, all right. I want you got
there
it. I've sorted it out. Yes.
Got
Sorry
it.
about that.
No worries.
So this is the 3rd time. And what I really wanted to say, Charles, was to say thank you very much for setting the tone and also saying all the things that we need to do. We are a small organization like yourself. And quite frankly, all the things that you are doing, all the things that we are contemplating doing. We are strong in terms of our student delivery mechanism. We have to thank, literally, we came to Campus Consortium in 2019, which allows us essentially to run a teaching platform. So what we have that is integrated is the teaching platform, the ability to deliver grades on time, to deliver student lecturing. And most importantly, we did that just before in 2019, Campus Consortium helped us come on board. And that literally allowed us to survive COVID-19 when it came. Because quite frankly, we were in an in-class shop, literally. Everybody came to class, and that's how we delivered. And at the same token, having done that, we were able to deliver seamlessly of our front end, which allows us to move and to allow students access to the platform. But all the other things that you're talking about, all the other things that you're talking about doing are things that we have on the drawing board that we have not done. So we are partly a mixture of a cloud-based solution, certainly on the teaching end, but on the student administration side, on the issue of payments, on the issue of the registration aspect, on the issue of the CRM, in terms of being able to provide information to our recruiters in terms of who, what, why, when, where, and the management information, well, those are all the things we don't have. And those are precisely the improvement areas that we're working on in terms of sorting out what are the opportunities, which are the best pieces of software which gives us goodness of fit that allows us to integrate backwards with the stuff that we do. But we have also some other interesting issues that you wouldn't have. Remember, we come from a jurisdiction where we are not a US dollar community. So that most of the payment platforms tend to be US dollar payment platforms, not local TT dollars. So we have a sufficiently difficult problem in terms of being able to integrate our payment mechanisms seamlessly with our student information systems. The two things don't fit at all. Right? And that's one of the difficulties that we have to find our way through in terms of sorting that matter out and in terms of providing, if you want a more seamless platform, which is much simpler to operate. That's one of the benefits of COVID. It has forced us to look at our operating systems. And the additional complications, of course, Trinidad and Tobago is an oil-rich or literally dependent on hydrocarbons, natural gas. And the country has been in a depression. So the same token that our student intake has not been rising. In fact, it's been on the decline. We've suffered a substantial decline. So as a result, we have to try to automate our processes to reduce the overhead costs, and at the same token, ease the registration process for students, and at the same time, the system delivery. So that what we've done with Campus Consortium is just simply the front end. That's all we've done. We've automated the teaching. All the administrative structures, all the programs that you're talking about, those are precisely the things that we are looking to integrate seamlessly to allow us to offer a much more efficient, as well as lower overhead costs and lower unit costs in terms of our delivery. Now that is the objective. Now the critical issue is to get over this particular hump. And we've had to reduce programs as a result, substantially reduce our overhead, given the fact that our student intake has fallen. So it becomes even more important to become efficient from an electronic delivery point of view. So yes, we've been strong in terms of allowing students online. In fact, we haven't opened since March of last year. This university has been, our campus has been closed. Right? We deliver primarily graduate programs, so it's 2-year programs, right? Which we've now condensing into shorter program formats. And we've also introduced an undergraduate, strictly targeting at business. So we are essentially a business teaching school. And that's where we are right now, a teaching school. And the things that we need to do in terms of research, in terms of publications, all of those now require a much stronger focus on the electronic integration aspects. Now, that's where our conversation with Campus Consortium has to deepen a bit, precisely because we've downsized, it means that we don't have all the in-house skills, and we have to rely on external expertise to carry us through the sump. And of course, we don't have that many universities in Trinidad. There are 3, and they are all bigger than we are, and all their resources are in-house. So it's a little difficult to piggyback on what they're doing to get around those difficulties that we're facing. So the one thing that we have going is that the teaching end is seamless. Right? The delivery of grades and everything else, that's seamless at this stage of the game. But the real issue in terms of whether your school operates and functions properly is the administrative side, is the operating side, and putting all those little bits and pieces. So I was very interesting in terms of the questions that were, the polls that were being conducted. And my only difficulty was I couldn't join in because panelists were not allowed to do it because there are a lot of ticks that I wanted to put there. So that I like to say that the program that you have outlined is precisely the program that we are involved in, except you are much further down the road in terms of getting it done than we are. So I want to congratulate you on doing that, and in a sense, making my presentation much simpler, because all we can show is literally what our front end looks like. So if you don't mind, Carl, which is what allows us to sign in. And once you sign in on this front, literally, we put you in touch with all your classes, your entire program structure, your teachers, email, and it's based on, of course, literally Office 365. Right? And that is what makes our life a lot simpler at this stage of the game, so that we're still closed, but we're still fully functional from a teaching perspective. Right? So the real trick now is to integrate and to automate all the other areas that you have talked about, so we can get to something which is a little more integrated, like the next slide that Carl is going to show. This is really where we are, right? So it's one click, except that all you're doing when you load in here is getting on the teaching side. All the other administrative aspects are missing. And that's where we have that's our improvement program. And that's our improvement program for the next 2 years. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you so much. I really appreciate Charles and Mariano, you sharing your challenges and your vision, though, because I think both of you have great directions for your campus. I think that the issues you're facing in terms of the financial and expertise areas are very common among a lot of institutions, and I talk to a lot of institutions every week that are facing these similar type of challenges. And, you know, even larger institutions have these issues. So I think there's something here to learn for all of us. So I appreciate both of you sharing your stories with us. And I'd like to move right into then some EdTech experts that can offer solutions for this. And the reason they're here is, you know, speaking of partners with Campus Consortium, we have well-known vendor MuleSoft, and we have Ali Al-Rawi, Principal Solutions Engineer from MuleSoft, and experienced solution engineer with demonstrated history of working in the information technology and services industry. He has a strong engineering, professionally skilled in middleware and integration technologies with on-premise and in the cloud IT strategy, professional services, and management systems. So sounds like, Ali, you spent a lot of time in the weeds of trying to get these systems talking to each other. And I'm sure that you've met with, you know, many, many different institutions. And so it's a real pleasure. Thank you for joining us here today. And can you tell us a little bit about your organization and how you help others in the education sector?
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Carl. And I really appreciate giving us the opportunity to talk about the integration journal and talk about MuleSoft. Just a small summary about MuleSoft. MuleSoft founded in 2006 with one main idea. The idea is that why crank so many custom codes over and over again to integrate multiple applications? Well, we can do it more efficient and in faster way by reusing whatever we built. And that's the whole idea behind MuleSoft. And that's how we were able to serve more than 2,000 customers with integration engine that will help them integrate their systems. And that's one of the main reasons why actually Salesforce acquired MuleSoft, because they were looking for integration engine. Salesforce, they recognized the importance of integration, and they were looking at the market, and here we go, and they found MuleSoft, and they acquired MuleSoft because of the superior technology and methodology that we use in order to integrate multiple systems. And that's that's the story behind MuleSoft. Now, our platform is basically consists of four main pillars. So the main one, or the first one, is integration. So we provide a platform that will help all higher education institutes to integrate their systems, whether they are integrating Banner, Salesforce, PeopleSoft, or any custom application. We have the connectors for that. Second pillar would be the universal API management. That's where our customers will be, will create, manage, secure, and govern all their APIs. Especially with the move to the cloud, APIs became more and more dominant in the industry. Everybody is standardizing on APIs for their integration. And that's why we have a really unique way of addressing, and we have a unique opportunity in the industry because we are on the Magic Quadrant for Gartner in both for the iPaaS and the API management. The third area would be around automation. So especially with the latest acquisition of ServiceSpace, now we are helping our customers not only to integrate, but actually to automate all their main business processes with RPA and with the workflow that's generated within the Anypoint platform. And the fourth area is we are allowing our customers, like these, our constituents, facilities, the students, everyone on the higher education industry to create their connected platform or connected ecosystem where they can do businesses in a better way. If you go to the next slide, please. Oh, actually, next one. I was going over that. So now, when we talk about higher education institutes, we work with our customers, and we work very hard to try to understand their main issues. And one of the main things is we would like to enable our higher education institutes to serve their students in a better way. And because that's the main key right now is how do we serve our students in a better way, how to give them the information that they need and fast and immediate. And that's where we've been working with our customers, whether it's SUNY or the universities system in California or any other higher education institute. First, we help them deliver a powerful learning experience for their students, especially with the pandemic. We are enabling our students to learn in different ways, in many ways, whether on campus or at home, whether utilizing newer technologies. So that's one area we've been helping our customers. Second area is provide them with a single student portal. That has been one of the most common requests from students. I don't want to go, the students don't want to go to different places to find the data they're looking for. They want to go to one place, whether it's a web-based or it's a mobile application or even chatbot. We have seen a lot of interest in the higher education industry around chatbot, and the chatbot would require to serve the data from the underlying system, and the only way to do that is through an integration solution. While you're serving your students, you need to understand how the students are progressing. You need to understand who are struggling, who are excelling, and what is the path for them after they finish their degree. So that's also another area we've been helping to create a historic with a student 360, create historic profile for each student and how they are progressing, so that we can, and the higher education institutes can serve their student in a better way. Now, all of these has been done in a really unique way, and I keep repeating unique, because MuleSoft has a really unique way of handling integration, and that's by adopting a really technology and a methodology that will lead in a higher reuse of the integration. We don't want our customers to build point-to-point integration and they go to the next project and they build another integration, go to the next project and so on. We want them to remove all these or reduce the technical debt that they end up with while doing the integration. And that's why we offer our technology, our solution that will help them to maximize their reuse of their integration, and we support them with the methodology that will emphasize all that. The other solution why customers are looking at MuleSoft is we have a unique way of deploying our solution, whether the customer is interested in the cloud, or they want to do it on-prem, or they want to do it actually hybrid. We can offer our solution that can position the technology in 3 different ways. And finally, with our solution, our customers will get also out-of-the-box connectors. These connectors will give our customers a head start in building an integration, and at the same time, give them a centralized way of managing these APIs and securing and govern these APIs. So with that solution, customers are able actually to start fast, and as they build more integration, they will be faster and faster. So they will minimize the time to build integration, any new integration, and they will also, reduce the technical debt that they will end up with this integration.
Ali, thank you. Thank you very much. That was a great explanation. Got a quick question from our audience. This is from Melissa Lenderman at Cleary University. She asks, with MuleSoft as a middleware, could we utilize it to integrate Salesforce, Canvas, and Genzabar all together?
Absolutely. Of course, we are a Salesforce company, so we are tied together with Salesforce. We have a Salesforce connector that will allow your developers to speed up the development and integrate with Salesforce. And we do offer the 250 different connectors, so we can connect to the application. If not the application, then we can allow your developers to connect to the database or the REST APIs. So we do offer our solution, and actually, if you look at our customer install base, probably we have half of them, they use Salesforce, and the other half, they are non-Salesforce customers.
Great. Ali, thank you so much, and great to be working with you and MuleSoft. Appreciate that. And let's move on to quick launch and James Schmidt. Mr. Schmidt brings 20 years plus of leadership experience, holding executive positions at companies that specialize in SaaS and PaaS solutions with cybersecurity and healthcare. Schmidt served as the Chief Revenue Officer for ERP Maestro, a leading enterprise access control and segregation of duties, governance and risk platform, which was acquired by SailPoint. And now James is the president of Quick Launch, a leading identity and access management provider. So very interesting perspective from Ali on integrations, and your organization really focuses on the identity and access management. We'd love to hear more about your integration stories and how you've helped the higher education industry.
Wonderful. Thank you, Carl. Hello, everyone. It's great to go last after everyone has such deep backgrounds. I am honored. I do wish I was part of a cabinet, Mariano. Maybe one day. I still have a few years left in my life, so you never know. But yeah, very impressive backgrounds. You can go to the next slide, Carl. In general, a lot of you on this webinar know Quick Launch. We are a leading provider of identity and access solutions to higher ed. About a third of the institutions are utilizing us. And basically what we do is we provide the single sign-on and multi-factor authentication for all of these institutions to log in to a single source of truth handoff and single entry into their applications. Integration is a huge part of this. We have about 500 integrations in our app store, and partners like MuleSoft really help facilitate integrations and process automation that, you know, we provide kind of the entry point to, but they provide that back-end communication and process automation that's really needed. A couple of things about us. A lot of people know already the reduction in support tickets by just having an automated password reset is really important. Really reducing the amount of service attacks by having a single sign-on and multi-factor authentication in place is really key, especially when it comes to cyber insurance and other items. But yeah, that's Quick Launch in general. You can move to the next screen, Carl. And just to kind of catalog some of the app integrations we have at Quick Launch right now, a lot of these that we already have created are self-service, standard items that you may be familiar with, Genzabar, Blackboard, O365, and so on. And with those integrations, makes it really simple to get institutions up and running within a week or two, which is nice. And then some people have legacy applications that obviously need the integrations, and that's where we leverage, you know, partners that really do a good job on that back end that we may not specialize in ourselves, such as MuleSoft.
Great. Thank you so much, James. Much appreciated. That was a great overview and a great description about the differences between MuleSoft and Quick Launch, and really end to end. It looks like your organizations can, you know, really solve a lot of problems from the usability perspective. You know, students having to authenticate and the mobile workforce, faculty and staff. Yeah. And then, you know, get to that critical data and information after it's been integrated and gathered into places that's more accessible than it's ever been before. So I think that integration projects are just going to grow from here. And I really want to thank the audience for participating in the polls and for the questions. We are running low on time here. But I would like to thank everyone for attending today and the great turnout that we had 2 weeks before, well, actually during the break time. So we had good attendance, and I hope this leaves you with something to think about. I think we got great input and valuable information from our institutions, Charles and Mariano. Appreciate you sharing your stories and the projects that you're working on. And Ali and James, thank you for, you know, letting us know that there are pathways. I mean, I think the pathways have been identified for even the smallest and the least capable of some systems, and that there are ed tech vendors like yourselves who partner with Campus Consortium now, because we know that you've got a lot of experience with higher education and education in general, and how you can really make this happen so people don't maybe have to buy a new student information system and spend 26 months implementing it and $2 million. So yes, Charles, I know about that. That's you know, expensive and time consuming. So if we can offset the time and the money, we want to help do that. And again, as I said, we are expanding our network, you know, in terms of different ed tech vendors. So we will really be growing that into 2022. So you have quite a selection and a lot of contacts and special pricing and services that will be available from this wide array of vendors out in the ed tech community. So I thank you all for presenting today and for the great discussion. We will have this recording available for anybody who wants it or wasn't able to attend today's session. And I encourage everyone to visit campusconsortium.org. We're always open for questions and we want to help. So please contact us, and I hope everyone has a great day. I hope everybody takes some time off and gets some peace and rest. And that includes all of our panelists today. So thank you again for the audience, and thank you to our panelists.